What's up everyone, it's Roger here from DisKingdom.com. It's Sunday, it's time for your DisKingdom Daily News, so let's jump into it. I'm going to be talking about repellent spray at Walt Disney World and also the possibility of the X-Men joining the Avengers in the upcoming Infinity War. Okay, so let's start off with kind of really big news for people heading to Walt Disney World. Apparently, from today, Disney will be offering out a number of different insect repellents and all the different locations at Walt Disney World, including Disney Springs, also the ESPN World of Sport, and obviously at the theme parks and at the resorts. They're going to be giving away free cans of the aerosol in people's hotel rooms. Now, this is kind of a big deal, and I kind of going to be honest, as someone that's outside of the US and where we are hearing reports of issues with the Zika virus, which is a bug which can cause birth defects in pregnant women. So when the babies are born, you know, it's just a horrible disease, and it's spread by mosquitoes. And the problem is mosquitoes in Florida have been reported to have had the virus. So as it's getting closer and closer up through the US, it's already gone right through the Caribbean and stuff. It's getting very, very close to Walt Disney World, and obviously they are now looking at this as a marketing nightmare for Disney, because you know, if people stop going to Florida because they've been hearing reports, because we're getting reports now, you know, over here outside of the US, you know, saying, you know, Zika virus could be in Florida, and you know, it puts people off. You know, if people are planning on having children, they're not going to be going to that location. And Disney are obviously starting to get worried about it. If they're starting to give away free product, that generally is not usually a good sign from Disney's point of view. Nowhere in any of them, and they haven't really sort of been marketing this out there. There's going to be posters and signs going up telling people that they can go get this repellent while they're at the parks, and just to keep on top of it. Now, looking at through some of the comments from people, a lot of people saying, well, I don't get bitten by mosquitoes anyway, it's not a big problem. Then maybe Disney is just overacting. The thing is this is a good way for Disney, when you are there, to try and put over the idea that you could be safe, and there's plenty of content and stuff there for you to protect yourself. And it might just make guests who are there feel better when they're there. For tourists going into the area from outside places that aren't infected, it's still going to be that worrying thing of, will they go there, or will they go to Disneyland, or will they go to some other vacation where there's maybe less of a risk. This is going to be a big problem going forward for Disney, because it's, you know, there's been lots of issues of reasons why people aren't going to Walt Disney World. You know, money. This is, you know, and this is just another issue. Obviously, they've had the alligator issue this year, that they, you know, there's been some bad publicity. There's been the shooting. You know, there has been lots of issues. So Disney have had a pretty bad year in terms of what's been going on around them. And you know, and like the Zika virus is nothing in Disney's control. So they're trying to do something good to try and stop it. It could be counteractive, because people that were looking towards it are now maybe going, whoa, it's getting a bit too close, let's not go there. But then it could also be doing, oh, that's all right, well, we'll keep spraying and using it while we're away. It is a really hot topic in terms of what it could mean for Walt Disney World. Personally, you know, it's great that Disney are going to be doing this, but it is going to cause some issues of maybe some families or anyone, you know, that is planning to have children to going to those parks. But that's just coming to the whole of the Caribbean. This whole of sort of Caribbean and Latin America have been issued. You know, we had this whole issue of Rio, the Olympics, just the same thing happening there. So it's interesting to see what's going on over there. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this, comment below. Okay, a little bit more on the lighter side of things. Doesn't look like the X-Men are going to be joining up with the Avengers in the Infinity War movie, which is coming out in a couple of years, which is not really a big shock. The director of Civil War, one of the Russo brothers, basically said, you know, that as far as he's aware, they're not working on anything. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this lately, obviously because of Spider-Man and Sony working out a deal with Marvel to bring the character and all the villains and stuff into the Marvel Universe. So there's still deals going on, but generally they've come together, and there's always, since this point, there's been a lot of questions looking towards the Fox people going, well, maybe if Sony can do it, you could do it too. Following the sort of disaster of the Fantastic Four and what happened with that, you know, people want to see that one brought back. But the two big things which kind of kicked this all off really has been the announcement of new TV shows developed with Marvel, with Fox together. And there's always been this kind of standing kind of rumor that, you know, if Marvel would allow them to make some TV shows, they'd get some characters back like the Fantastic Four, etc. And now there's this whole question of, could the Avengers cross over into X-Men movie or vice versa. Now, for me personally, I actually don't think it's a good idea at this precise moment. I don't think the X-Men universe is in a good place to be brought into the Marvel universe. I'd rather they do with the Spider-Man and reboot the X-Men from scratch as part of a new continuum going forward, as part of the universe. I don't think just retrofitting in, doing some time jump, and suddenly you've got the X-Men in there. The X-Men at the minute, to me, are all over the place, because you've got the old crew of, you know, Patrick Stewart and, you know, Hugh Jackman, who's just finishing up his last X-Men movie. And then you've got the new X-Men, so you've got like the ones from the First Class and Apocalypse. You know, you've got all this like mix over with timelines, and even Deadpool makes fun of it. You know, they're all over the place. Deadpool is like in today's modern life, but Apocalypse was set back in the 80s. So you can't just bring Storm into the Avengers, because she would be 30 years older or 40 years older than she would have been in Apocalypse. So it's a real mess in terms of timelines. I feel like if Marvel were to do this, they really need to almost like reboot the X-Men from scratch in order to bring them into the Marvel Cinematic. Yeah, and I think that's probably a good thing, really. Personally, you know, sort of Fox are pulling away with all this X-Men shared universe with all their TV shows. You know, and Apocalypse and these new ones, you know, I've enjoyed those movies. I thought they were pretty cool. But with this whole timeline thing between the old ones and the new ones and all these X-Men movies, you know, they've got this big shared universe, which is, in my opinion, it would be a major problem for them. They can't just bring, they could bring Wolverine into the X-Men probably, and Deadpool quite easily, because they're set in the now. But the old one characters like, not using the newer characters like, you know, Jennifer Lawrence, you know, she's set years before this. You know, First Class was set in the 60s. By the time, you know, we get to Infinity Wars, we're nearly in 2020. You know, that's a long time between characters and between years and stuff. It just, I don't know. To me, it just wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to do that. But again, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Like I said, I'd love to see the X-Men in the Avengers, don't get me wrong, but maybe we should be looking towards that for, you know, mid-20s, you know, when they get the Marvel. I'd rather they brought in the Marvels, or brought all the X-Men in together, do it properly, and spend some time developing it than just trying to rush it in. And I think that's where they need to be working together on this, rather than just trying to shoehorn in the X-Men movies into the Avengers. Because in all honesty, the Avengers movie doesn't need any more superheroes. We're going to have enough. We're going to have the Guardians, we're going to have all the Avengers, we're going to have Spider-Man, we're going to have everyone in there. I don't think the X-Men really are needed at that point. But I'd love to see the Fantastic Four maybe pop in as an extra bonus in that on there. I think that would be a great way to start things off. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you guys think of today's stories. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. You can hit that subscribe on YouTube. You can also hit subscribe on the audio versions. And if you're on Facebook, you can give us a like there as well. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Laters!